But in the meantime, we're joined on the Harbor One hotline by Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald. What's going on, Andrew?
Good afternoon, guys.
I have an update. You want to hear an update from the show today? You ready for this one?
All set. Fire away.
Okay. I am now ready, and I know you're one who has declared there's never been a quarterback competition. There is no quarterback competition. There's no controversy. I'm ready to lay down my arms if Mac Jones doesn't play on Thursday, and it sounds like he's not going to play on Thursday. So what should we read into his status of not being available or potentially not available and not starting in that game?
Well, Adam, I want to welcome you back. We'd love to have you here on planet Earth. Things are great. It's better when you're here. We're glad you came down from that fantasy land. And, look, if you were watching practice today, largely it was a nothing burger. I think what you saw was the start of a traditional Friday practice in the regular season. There are a lot of initial walkthroughs. Those are run by the backups, which says they're being rested and prepared to go play on Thursday. And at the same time, Mac Jones was taking 7-on-7 reps. Then at the end of practice, the players going full speed were all the ones that I don't expect to participate on Thursday. So there's no hard reporting here. But if you walk practice today, in addition to, again, largely not learning anything new, it looks like the players you expect to sit Thursday will do just that.
Okay, now I just want to be clear. If Mac plays on Thursday, I am going to read into it because he shouldn't play on Thursday if he's the guaranteed starter. So you read into it if he winds up playing.
Yeah, I mean, look, not me, not Mego, not Gravity could keep you on planet Earth during the last couple of weeks talking this competition. So I can't stop you from saying anything that you want to. You can read into it. That's fine. But I'm just telling you, if Mac plays Thursday, it'll be a series or two, and it won't be based on, stuff we saw today.
Okay, but forget the quarterback competition part of it for a second. If he's out there and he's playing, you don't think he's going to play, and that's fine. And I know you're not hard reporting that, but you can read into that a little bit that they need to see more. They need to see something. Like there's something there. There's a reason he's going to be playing because traditionally, unquestioned starters don't play in this game. That would include Mac a year ago.
Well, it depends on how many joint practices you have coming up. So I would say, yes, absolutely. A, you can read into anything you want. B, it would raise an eyebrow for me knowing that they have joint practices upcoming next week in Green Bay and Tennessee the week after, and those, and speaking with people in and around the team, are what they really care about. So, yeah, of course, if Mac Jones, not only based on today, but the upcoming schedule, plays, I would say more than 2 series Thursday, and 3 is not obviously much more than 2, but I would be very, very surprised.
Andrew, do you think that they're going to do anything, add to this offensive line? Or are they banking on Calvin Anderson coming back, on guys like Riley Reif, Trent Brown staying in shape? Because right now my concern level is pretty high with that position group.
As it should be. As far as Trent Brown goes, great news today. He was participating in team periods. He was not out of shape to show up because those guys go on PUP, physically unable to perform. It's happened in the past. It was Ramondre Stevenson his first year. Trent, I think, 1 year, had a day. You pass the conditioning test, and then you move on. And supposedly, according to Belichick, he's slimmed out, a very svelte 370. As for the other guys,
does he look slimmed down to you in person?
I mean, does any 370-pound person...
That's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, Andrew, can you tell a difference in person?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Andrew, I want to ask you about...
real quickly. Cole Strange has been missing for a week. David Andrews has been the only starter at the offensive line. So, the offensive tackle position is much worse. I would expect, though, Strange, Trent, to be back soon. The question is on Wenu, who we haven't seen at all so far in camp, as well as Calvin Anderson. So those are the two guys that are the real question marks.
All right, Trey Flowers back where it all began for him, and obviously a place where he was very successful. Not a great tenure in Detroit, certainly not in Miami. He's banged up a lot. How realistic is it that he makes the team and contributes something this year?
I mean, if I'm nailed down to a number, it'd be somewhere lower than 50%. This is a guy who was unwanted not only just by the Patriots up until yesterday, but by the rest of the league. So maybe they look at this as an opportunity to work with him. He's finally fully healthy. You could probably sneak him onto a practice squad if you keep him out of the preseason and are largely healthy. But I don't think the team even knows at this point, except for they want some more depth and a guy you can count on from a locker room standpoint just to be available and play multiple positions. But he played 4 games last year with Miami, 7 the year before with the Lions. So what you're asking of him now is just get through some practices, maybe half a season. And even then, he's 29, but it's a really old kind of 29 with Trey, given all the time he's already put into the league.
Andrew, I might butcher this, but I think Bailey Zappi said that the offense was about 80% installed or something along those lines. How different is this offense? I'm not even going to go to last year because I think we all assume it's going to be a lot better, at least more productive than last year. But then Josh McDaniels' offense. What kind of things are you seeing in practice that we can expect to see regularly from this team?
So, first of all, you didn't butcher it. That was the exact quote. He was oddly specific with us yesterday. Bailey Zappi famously denying that he knew anything about Zappi fever a year ago as he was smiling to us point blank. I think it was week 5. But the offense looks modernized is the best way I can put it. And it's not because you're running RPOs or you have certain pre-snap motions. Like all of the new stuff that we see in football, you can go back 50, 60 years ago. It's just redraft versions of a triple option that you put in the shotgun versus someone under center. So the thing I will say is the pieces fit in addition to running more motion and maybe some more RPOs here and there. And that's something you didn't see last year. Your running plays didn't look like your play action throws, which therefore made those play action throws a lot less effective. But when you look at the offense, whether it's in the red zone or the full field or in short passing game, there's a lot going on there, and it all makes sense. Whereas last year you're going, why is Mac Jones booting out? He's never done that before. He's not good at that. And naturally, we don't see any of that so far this year.
Andrew, we're going to see a lot of Bailey Zappi on Thursday night. Whether there was a competition or not, I'll back out of that. But I do want to know, is the team happy with what Zappi did in this preseason? Are they happy with sort of his development, and do they plan on sort of sticking with him as the backup all year?
Yeah, all indications are yes. I mean, you brought in Trace McSorley, who's been a journeyman so far early in his career. The other guy playing quarterback is Malik Cunningham, who played quarterback in college, then told reporters he's fully transitioning to receiver, and then we see the last 2 practices really working at quarterback. So Zappi, I will say, like his lows have been the lowest, or as low as any other quarterback. He threw a pair of passes into Christian Barmore's belly button yesterday in team periods because he's a 6'1" guy trying to get around a pass rush, goes sidearm, and it just goes nowhere. There are limitations there, but everything you've heard and you've seen, he's a better player than last year. And for someone who's always projected to be a backup, that's just fine.
How long's the leash on Mac? This is my new thing. It's like, okay, if Mac's starting week 1, fine. Does he have a long leash with Bill Belichick? Does Bill O'Brien's presence lengthen that compared to a year ago? What sort of leash is he working with?
So I can't tell you the exact length of whatever this leash is, but I will say it's grown since the start of camp. When watching the first team reps and going, okay, who's taking him, Mac versus Zappi, was a question. No longer been the case. Mac has taken all of them. He's always worked with the starting offensive line. He's always faced the starting defense. He's being treated like the starter and performing like one. But the other part about this equation is, okay, let's say they want to rein in Mac because he's playing poorly. Is that poor performance worse than what Bailey Zappi's doing? Because if not, he's still your guy. Like, there's a dynamic here and a push and pull between the two of them where Zappi needs to outperform Mac. As bad as Mac might be playing, if Zappi's even worse, there's no reason to go to the kid who's playing worse against second stringers with a second-team offensive line. And so that's the thing I keep in mind here, where things are looking good for Mac, but if he, kind of plateaus here, they'll need a jump from Bailey Zappi if they really want to make that change, because that's something you really don't want to go back to, as we all saw last year.
Andrew, our mutual friend Mike Giardi, he got pantsed a little bit by Kendrick Bourne, which everybody can laugh at, for the stink, stank, stunk comment. But are you seeing much improvement from who we would assume are the starting pass catchers so far in camp? A couple weeks ago, that was the description, stink, stank, stunk, and it's been a little bit quieter recently.
So Kendrick Bourne both timed his response perfectly and in the worst possible way, in which the day he said that quote, he had 1 target and he didn't catch it. And then the day before, he had 5 catches and 7 targets. But that one day accounts for more than half of his catches in competitive team periods this summer, which is a long way of saying, no, we have not seen a lot of improvement from these receivers. Now, it's important to know that they worked a lot of the red zone, which matters. Again, the completion percentage for elite quarterbacks in the league inside the 20 is 50 or below. But these are contested catch specialists, supposedly, yards after the catch specialists, supposedly. And we just haven't seen a whole lot of that. So they've gotten a little bit better. But when the biggest story out of camp is a 6th-round rookie named Pop Douglas, who stands at 5'8" and 190 pounds soaking wet, that's bad news for the rest of the group. Douglas has had a really good camp, but Juju Smith-Schuster should look more like a number 1. And he's honestly kind of disappeared the last few days, as has Bourne.
Okay, well, that I 100% agree with you on. Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald. You can check out his work there. You can also follow him on Twitter as well. He is @_Andrew Callahan. Andrew, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.